Hey, Coach, so excited that you found our YouTube channel and found everything that we have to offer on teachhoops.com. If you have any questions, go click down below. We're here to help, we're here to serve. So go over and check it out up above.
Um, and it's a big step.
Right.
I'm stressing
It
out a
is.
bit.
It's a big step from youth to the expectations get a lot higher.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And it's just all the coaches are so serious, right? And they know what they're doing, and I hate being out coached. So,
Okay.
um,
Well, we'll take care of that. That's not a problem.
that's great.
Okay.
So, like when I used to play, I mean, we always had at least one zone, one man-to-man sort of structure, like on offense, defense, press, etc. How much do I need to have? Like, what do I need to have in my toolkit?
Yeah, that's a great. I love the toolkit thing too. So, so tell me, like, give me a background of the school size, how long the kids have been playing.
Okay, so the majority of the kids I started with in grade 7
Okay.
as like non-players. I had I think 2 kids who had ever played a game with a referee.
Okay.
And they've done really well. I can teach the basics. That's no problem.
Yep.
So the majority of them have come up with me grade 7, 8, 9, and they've just finished their grade 10 season. So I've got 2 more years with them, but they're moving into the next level of high school. So they're playing, grade 11s and 12s.
Okay. And what size school is it? So I can get a sense of the competition.
Okay, so we call it 3A school here. It's about 600, 700 kids.
Okay. And how has the school done in the past?
Very poorly.
Okay.
Very poorly. We won a banner this year for our junior team, which is the best the school's ever done, and they made a huge deal out of it.
Okay.
But of course, okay, this is me personally. Once you get to 800 and above in kids, you go to a different level.
Okay.
So they call that 4A, and they compete against each other in provincials. So we'll play them through our league. We'll play all the big schools through our league. But provincials, like for our like state championships and stuff, we only have to play against teams that are 800 or less.
Oh, 800 less. Okay.
Right. But for me, in my own, like, I want to be able to compete with the big guys. I've got a good team of kids.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to be the best. You got to beat the best. Okay. So, what are they good at?
That's an excellent question. We don't have a ton of speed. We have a little bit of speed.
Okay.
What are they good at?
Size? Do you have size? Do you have shooters?
I've got a little bit of size, and we're developing our shooting. We're working really hard at developing a 3-point presence, like having some consistency.
Okay.
I found that, now is a good time. They're starting to get the strength. Grade 9, I just didn't find they were able to shoot from that distance. And I hate seeing ugly shots. I'd rather have them hit shots consistently.
Yes, amen. My son's a great 3-point shooter, but I didn't let him shoot a 3-pointer until he was like 13 because he wasn't strong enough.
They're not, and then the form just goes crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just bad. It's just bad. Okay. Okay, so you already have a plan to make them better shooters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's funny because I was reading on the Facebook page, they're talking about like a realistic goal being like 30,000 shots between now and September, and I'm like, that's like 200 shots a day. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of shots.
It's a lot of shots. I don't think I can get my girls there at the moment. You know what I mean?
No. But the thing is, especially, I've seen this with my guys, but even with the girls more, you have to they have to see progression, and you have to figure a way to track it. So hold on, I have a good tracking thing I'll send you.
I love that. My husband is all about numbers. He's like, he went to go pick up my daughter from the airport, but he's like, you have to ask this, you have to ask this.
Yeah. So I have a good sheet that I've used with my guys. So what's going to happen is, it's like, because I've been a teacher for 30 years. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to see improvement, and then they're going to level, and then they're going to see improvement, and they're going to level. And the problem is that the kids quit on this level. The level might last 2 weeks, might last 6 months. Who knows? This is when they quit, and you got to fight yourself through that level of like, I'm only doing this shooting wise. And the great ones, the Steph Currys of the world, fight through all those levels and just keep getting better and better. So the tracking, boys kind of like, it's the girls teams I've coached are so much better, and they're more visual, and they like to see that, okay, I'm tracking this, and here's how I'm improving, and it's so good. So I wrote myself a note to send you that. So I will send you that. That's a good tracker. They can put it in, they can do it on their phones. They can do it on a piece of paper, whatever is easier for them. Okay. So I think yeah. Okay. So little speed, little size, okay shooters.
Yeah, but you know what their strength is? These kids have worked together like a long time, and they've got each other's back. So
You've got depth.
Yeah, I do have depth. I don't have superstars, but I've got kids who are gonna like kill themselves, and they will work a system. They will work really hard for us, and they will, they're smart. I got smart kids.
So if you have depth, you want to play more kids.
Yes.
Yes. So that means you want more possessions. You want a faster paced game, probably.
I would like to see that happen. I want, like, for me personally, I would love to see the other team, every time they bring up the ball, I don't want them to bring it up and just like to bring it up easily. I want them to have to work for every possession.
Okay, so when you're building your foundation here, I think what you have to think is, okay, I have a good team. I'm balanced. I have a lot of evenly played players, which means that they're not going to love this. Don't tell them I said this, but you're going to have to be in better shape than anybody within a 200-mile radius.
Yeah, no, we're a big, we believe in that too.
Yep, you gotta be in shape, and then you're just gonna have to keep throwing bodies at people. Like, so I think you have to be like an old Kentucky team of like the mid '90s when Patino was there. You're just we're gonna trap you. We're gonna come at you. We're gonna turn you over. Because I'm assuming that if the girls are decent shooters, they're gonna make layups.
Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to want to turn people over. You're going to want possessions, especially if you don't have size. You don't want a half-court game, So and you have some speed, but you don't have speed. But if they play well together, speed isn't as big a deal as you think when you're pressuring. It's more about angles and rotations.
Oh man, I love hearing that, because I've been watching all these, and the trouble is, like, I don't have anyone. You're the only person I can ask these questions to. I don't have many coaches in my circle, and it's like the ones I do have, I'm like, I don't really like what you're saying. You know what I mean? I don't trust what you're saying, and I don't think I got you covered, and I don't have many people covered.
Right. No, so I think you, and the thing is, the girls will like it because they'll all get to play, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's the best way if you can do it. Now, I've had teams that have done that. I've had teams that it's like 38-36. It's like, well, you got to do what you got to do to win. But that one's an easier sell than the other one.
I love it. I've been watching like a lot of, I used to play like a run and jump style. I've been watching
and I haven't taught geometry in 25 years, but run and jump is just rotations.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out your angles, and at another time we can draw this up, but it's basically just where you're going to trap, how you're going to trap, and then what passes do you want to take away. So I would start working on that as soon as you're in a dead period, like you can't work with them at all.
No, I can work with them. I've got I coached 4 teams this year, 2 junior highs and 2 senior high teams.
Okay.
So I've got a ton of girls, and I'm allowed to bring in, I invite feeder schools in.
Okay.
So most of them don't come, but their players are allowed to come, in which case it's no longer a team, right? I can train with everybody. So we just take Thursday afternoons, and we just work on Thursday afternoons.
Okay. So Thursday afternoon has to be your laboratory at this point. So after we get off, you're going to have all these ideas, and you're going to have to narrow them and say, okay, I'm going to try this and this and this. And it's like anything. It's like running a school, you got to, this work, because you're going to have all these ideas, and a third of them aren't going to work. You're just going to say, this isn't going to work. We're going to try it, but it's not. So I think what you have to use Thursday as is your laboratory, and basically try things that you think can work. This is one thing I would definitely try. I would try some pressure stuff. I would actually do it live and just see how it looks. Because drawing it on paper and doing that, it's the same thing with out of bounds plays and quick hitters and all those kind of things. if you think you're like an average shooting team, I would definitely spend some time finding, even watch the NCAAs. Women play on Friday, I think.
Yeah.
And then Saturdays, the guys just watch. They're out of bounds plays and stuff. You find a couple, tweak with them. I mean, there's tons of them. I can give you some too, but it's like you just kind of want to play with, getting some easy buckets is what it's going to be the hard thing, because it sounds like, I think defensively we're probably farther along than we are offensively.
Offensively, look, I don't have a ton of height, and we don't. I have hesitated. A lot of coaches like a 5-out. I hate a 5-out for my kids. Like,
Okay.
I really hate it because I need rebounders. I always want to make sure there's at least one person in there.
Okay.
So I'd love a 4-out, 1 in. We did I was influenced by the high school coach that was currently there, which basically they just did a pass cut replace. And that's all they ran with. And it's like, we need something a little more sophisticated. We need a few other.
So I have no problem with that. We're playing with that too. I've gone from all the way from the swing to whatever. I do what I got to do with my guys. So next year, I think we've got a couple bigs. We've run read and react with 5-out, but next year we're gonna put 1 in. Where are you gonna put the in the offense?
Like, I'm thinking a high post, but again,
I'm thinking high post, and I'm thinking opposite low block. Because if your girls can take it off, can they dribble and attack the basket?
They can. That's yes. Yeah.
So you don't want to clog up that middle.
No.
You want to leave it open. So what you do is you put the post opposite the ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here, let's see if I can do this and see if it worked. It worked earlier today. Okay. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, I think you want to put the post over here.
Yeah. Okay.
So that leaves lanes open for, I don't know where the other 5 would be, depending on how you want to situate them. But it gives you the old, swing flex kind of triangle over here. But if the ball's over here, it also gives them lanes to get to the basket. If you put them here, unless you're going to do, was it like Michigan State? Who's running that scissors cut? There was a scissors cut that was happening in the NCAA. Somebody was running.
Right.
Might have been Auburn even, but whatever. They put that person up top, and that's fine if you're going to do those kind of cuts and moves off the top. But as soon as you put this person here, this lane gets clumped up, and you're not going to get those dribble drives you want to get.
Right.
How are you teaching it?
Honestly, for the season that we just went through, I ran a 3-out, 2 in.
Okay.
I'd like to go to 4-out, 1 in. So I keep looking at different structures and going, how can I make it simple enough for the girls to understand? And to run like some basic screens, right?
So I think you want to. I think you want to take I think Rick's a genius, but I think you want to take some things from the read and react, and you just want to give them a couple rules. Like, you pass to the wing, you cut to the basket. The ball goes from the top to a wing, you screen away. Just give them, and he calls them layers, but I would just work on a layer and just every time you make a pass, you got to replace or cut, or if the ball goes to the post, we're going to screen away. You come up with what you think the three or 4 rules. He has like 80,000 layers. You want to get like 2 or 3 basic rules.
Right.
And then work on one of the rules. And what I did this year, and I found it just by mistake, is I made the boys call out what they were doing every time they did it. So like, if this person passed to the wing and they cut, I said they had to say cut. So they have to think about what they're doing on the court. Otherwise they keep doing the same things over and over and over again in emotion.
It's so predictable and it's not effective. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm like, we might have some success against a man-to-man, but we're going to have no success against a zone.
No.
I'm stepping in, right?
And they'll do the same cut, and then the defense is like, that's why people play zones, because people do the same things over and over against it, and it's easier to defend. That's why if you make them say it out loud and they said cut 4 times, you don't even have to say anything to them. They know that they can't cut 5 times in a row.
Right.
They got to go screen, or they got to flare cut, or they got to do something like that. So that's a great way of kind of teaching that the motion
Right.
And the one will have she'll have her own sets of rules. Like, you can work short corners, you can flash to the high post and then get out. If the ball's here, you should be. So you're going to have to make your own. If you run 4 out, 1 in, you have to make your own set of rules for the one that's in. How do you want her? Do you want her opposite block? Do you want her short corner? Do you want her in these 2 spots? Do you want her flash
I don't know.
to the high post?
That's why, like, I've recorded every one of the women's NCAA games for, I think, the season. So I just sit there and I just watch it. And I spend more time watching the women's than the men's.
Yep.
Because, like, it's a slower game. It seems to be a little more of a structured game. So it's
a better game. It is.
But with the strength, like I love watching the men's game for entertainment, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. You know what I mean?
No, some of that 7-6 is not normal. That's not normal. Taco is not normal. Yeah. That's the women's game. What I love about the women's game is it's the way, I'm old, but it's the way I used to. It's structured. It's like they're setting screens. They're actually having to flare cut to get open. These other guys are so gifted that it's just a flow. They're just so talented that they don't have to set that great screen.
That's right. And they just, we had a fellow who plays, he plays in the Canadian professional league. So he's like, some ex-NBA players are in that league and stuff. So there's some good players.
Right.
And he came out and worked with the girls for such a long time. He's the nicest guy. But he's gifted, right? And he's like, it just came so easy to him, and he didn't understand. No, these girls need structure. They need to actually.
Right. I see it from my son. My son's a great 3-point shooter, but getting open's harder for him. He can't. He's not 6'5", and he's not as quick as So he has to work on how can I get open. What kind of that's where you see that in the game. Okay, so let's go back to your initial question. I haven't forgotten it. I think you're going to play man, or you're going to play zone. You're going to play both.
So we played a 2-3 zone this year,
and
had moderate success with it. And we stuck with it the whole year because I didn't have the time. We had so much catching up to do with the girls. We're a small school with 1 gym.
Yep.
I did not have the time to, the gym time to teach them awesome man-to-man principles, and they're not terrific at it. They have basics, but that's going to be our focus over spring is great man-to-man principles.
Yeah. So watch Virginia men's.
Virginia men's, thank you.
Oh, they're on Tony Bennett is like his father. He plays pack line. If you want to watch proper rotations, watch Virginia men.
Okay. And what did you say his name was? Sorry.
Tony Bennett.
Thank you.
And his dad's name was Dick Bennett, and they are world renowned man-to-man defensive coaches. Unbelievable.
Awesome.
The best. So I would not worry about a zone right now. I would teach them all the man principles.
Yeah, because I can check the girls back in a 2-3 zone. We have work to do in that, and I'd like to make it more sophisticated.
Yep.
But we can do it. You know what I mean?
You and I can talk about how to teach that and how to talk about rotations and stuff. But literally, we could do that in 25 minutes.
Awesome.
Man to man is 6 months of you're going to have to, here's what help side is. Here's what happens when you get off. What's our rotation? So if they can do that, then I can teach them any zone in the world. Trust me.
Okay.
But we can't, if they don't have the fundamentals of man. So defensively, all I would worry about is man, because as soon as you get that down, then we can talk about pressuring. Then we can talk about a run and jump. Then we can talk about, because the run and jump will get better if your half court man is better.
Right.
Because they'll know the rotations, and then they'll start anticipating and going, ooh, I can get a steal.
Right.
Yeah, all that stuff kind of feeds on itself. So the only thing defensively I would worry about is playing man at this point.
Excellent.
Man. Okay.
I will do that as our focus.
Okay. And then offensively, I would start working on your sets of rules. And you can email them to me and I'll look at them. We can email back and forth real quick.
Okay.
But, here's what I'm thinking offensively. Here's what I'm thinking, defensively. Here's my rules that I want to do for these.
Okay.
And then I think you're right. I think you got to keep adding to your toolbox about side out of bounds, underneath out of bounds. What are you going to do after a timeout? All those things are the things that when you're watching games over the next couple of weeks.
Right. and having I want to have really great transition, right? We want to work on every element of the game. We want to have
and you can't. You know, it's like we could start talking about a primary break and then a secondary break. It's like, whoa, you got to crawl first. So what you can do with a break, if you really want to work on, so the man defense thing I think is right, but then if you want to work on transition offense, just say, as soon as we get a rebound, go, and then just count out loud 1, 2. You see how fast they can get the ball up the court.
Right.
Don't worry about where they're going and stuff, because it's got to be a mental part to get the ball up the court fast first. Right. Then you can worry about, okay, where's our trailer coming? How are we getting it out to the wings? Yes, you can pass the ball faster than you can dribble the ball. You know, you do that fun little thing where I'll give you $100 if you can run faster than this, and you throw it. They're not going to beat. They're not Superman. So, so just those kind of things is like, but don't, like, I said this in my class today, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. You can't do all of this. Let's get good at something first, and then we can kind of build on that. Does that make sense?
That's awesome. Yeah. Steve, my husband just came in. He's my
Hi, Steve.
co-coach.
Hey, are you helping her? Are you the assistant coach?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I just was listening for a couple of minutes. I've got a teaching background, so where I sort of step in with Dana is in exactly what you're saying. Like, she'll get really excited, want to do everything at once. So they're not doing this, and it's like you've got to master small pieces. So I'm not experienced around basketball, but around coaching and teaching skills.
And I think I've narrowed her down. She's got some homework. I think I've narrowed her down on the stuff to focus on, and then we'll get back together and we can expand it. But
I think the big thing is too, Steve, that when you've played at a high level, you forget what it's like to learn when you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And I've been the dumb guy in here going, hey, this is too complicated.
Right.
I don't understand it.
I mean, you have to teach them how to screen.
Yes,
we do. You teach them how to flare off that screen. They have no idea. They have no idea. Like in my math class, it's like I can assume they know 2 + 2, but I can't assume that when we're doing this statistical thing that they know the other 3 things that come before unless I taught it to them. I can't assume it. So I might be able to go through it fast, but I got to, it's that. And the thing is, when you're doing your teaching, and this is about breaking that, how long do you have for practice?
2 hours.
2 hours. So breaking that up into pieces is really hard because I'm a big whole part, like, and I'm also a visual and kinetic. I mean, they got to physically do it and they got to see it, but you got to be able to break it into a little piece. Like we're talking about this man offense. You got to break it into they might not know what a basket cut is. They might not know what, a flare cut is. They might not know what some of those things are. You have to do that in a small group. 2 baskets or 6 baskets?
We've got 6.
Good. So you can break them up into like groups of 3 or 4, and it's like, all right, let's just do basket cuts. Let's do, here's, and you literally are going to have to get on the court and say, here's how we set a screen. Here's how we come off the screen.
For sure.
Yeah. So those little pieces will be really important, I think. All right. What did I write? Oh, the tracking thing. I'm going to send you the tracking thing when I get off here too.
The shot tracker.
Yes, the shot tracker.
For them to see their improvement. We do a form of that.
Yep.
But it'll be helpful to.
And then you're gonna want them to graph their points and see their progress for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that will feed into like we want to shoot more. And what kind of shots are they taking is the other question I'm gonna ask.
Close range, mid range, and they haven't. Most of them, we like them to get to like 50%, hitting about 50% in practice before we move them out to the next level.
Yep. And are they rebounding for each other, or is there a machine there?
No, they're rebounding for each other.
Okay. So this is where, again, you got to kind of, I always think about these when I walk my dog, but you have to think about the kind of shots that they're going to get. So those are the kind of shots you want to practice.
Right.
So are they getting them off a pass? Are they getting them off 2 passes? Are they getting them off the fast break?
Right.
So part of it is repetition and muscle memory, but part of it is like, how many kids take 2 dribbles and a pull-up jump 12-footer anymore? Well, nobody really. So no one really practices it, which is fine. Then you shouldn't practice it because you're not going to take those shots. So I think that's when you're thinking about the shooting program that you're doing with them, figure out what kind of shots you're going to get within your offense. And those are the ones you want to practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else? My assistant coach just got home too, so I got to go talk to her.
Okay,
I love that sign in the background too. Steve.
Yeah, I
We
like
need to
it
get
too.
that. We need one of those.
It's true. It's that and all my Disney stuff up top, so it's pretty funny. But okay, we'll talk soon. Let me know. So you got some homework, and then I want to hear from you in the next week or so.
Okay, awesome. Really appreciate your help with this.
No problem. I'm glad it's helping. I'm glad it's helping. So
Yeah, it was nice to have a sounding board and just have like confirmation you're in the right direction, or
you are going down. Yep. So you got to take that first step to run the marathon. So now you got to keep going. Yes.
All right.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. Let me know how we can help. Join teachhoops.com up above. I've been through it all. I've won championships, won a bunch of rings. Let me know how I can help you become a better basketball coach. Click teachhoops.com and check it out.